And welcome to our Future Falcons webinar. I'm Karen Sanders, the Director of Admissions, and we appreciate you taking this opportunity to learn more about your state college. Today, we're very happy to present Computer Science Career Pathways. And in a moment, we're going to start our presentation, and it will be followed by a question and answer session at the end. Just so you know, the chat or instant message feature of the webinar has been disabled in favor of Q&A at the end. And now I would like to introduce Anindya Paul, who is our chair for the School of Computer Science and Building and Architectural Technology. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Anindya.
Thank you, Karen. Greetings, everybody. I hope you can hear my voice okay. Just let us know if you are having some problems hearing me. My name is Anindya Paul, and as Karen mentioned, I'm the chair for the School of Computer Science, and I'm here to talk about career pathways. We will discuss about how to go about choosing a career. In my experience here at DSC and in my prior university, I have often come across a question from a student who says, I like technology, but I am not quite sure as to how to go about choosing a career, and what are some of the careers that are out there, and how do I get prepared for those careers in technology? And today's webinar or presentation is to address some of those questions. So just like everybody in life works better with a plan, choosing a career is no exception. When I hear students talk about what is it that they would like to do, oftentimes I would ask them, why is it that they are choosing technology? And some people talk about they know of a person, they have a parent, or they know of a friend who works in technology. But a lot of the others really do not have anybody that they know about. So they kind of go with the fact that they have used technology because we are using it in our everyday life, and they want to do something with it, but they're not quite sure as to what is out there. So what I would like to do in this webinar is to discuss some of the career choices, show you the way that you can actually go about researching as to what is out there, and then try to see how do you go about choosing some of the programs which would prepare you for those careers. So let's go ahead and get started. So the slide that you see over here is a slide that I have taken from a platform called Employ Florida. As you can see, it's a very typical job description. And apart from the job description and the skills that you see on the post, also pay attention to a few other things. There is a section at the bottom over here which talks about the job outlook. It talks about the demand. It talks about the degree that you require, the experience that you have, and then it gives you a range of salary. Excuse me. So the range of salary is typically associated with the skills, the work ethics, and the experience that you can bring to the job. Now, again, this is a very typical job platform, and this is in Florida, and there are plenty of other sites that you can go to look for other jobs, which I'm going to share with you as well. The next one is another slide where it basically addresses some of the positions, and you have to click on these things to get into more details. But my point here is I wanted you to take a note of the little yellow dots right next to it. This is telling you that these jobs actually have very, very bright potential or bright outlook. Sometimes you may see that some of these jobs would have a little green leaf right next to it, which basically depicts that these are green jobs. Now again, this is just a very, very small sample. And as you can see here, I've just typed in computers, and these are the kind of jobs that came up. Now, if I click on these individual job listings, I would see many more jobs under these titles. Now, this is the same thing. So in this case, what I'm doing is using another platform. I'm sure you must have heard about it, called Indeed.com. So in this platform, you can actually type in the job that you're looking for with a keyword. And in this case, I have used the keyword technology. Now again, you can use different kinds of keywords, something like programming, database, cybersecurity, networks, forensics. But at this point, what I'm trying to show you here is these are platforms that you can use to look and research the career opportunities that are out there. Now let's take a little deeper dive into some of these skills. Over here, as you can see, this is a .NET developer. This is basically a programming language that we use, or in our programs we cover that. And this job is actually in Daytona Beach, Florida. You also see there's a salary range over here, and then you have some skill sets. But another thing that is also very important is to take a look at the number of pages and jobs that are available, which kind of proves my point that I was making earlier, that there are plenty of jobs that are available in the field. And remember, I'm just using technology as a keyword. And also I am limiting my search in Florida. So now if I change my keyword and open myself up to other states, of course, this number is going to jump tremendously. Now, I have just changed my keyword over here, and I'm now using a senior network. Now, this is to show that you sometimes also have jobs in Florida, but they are listed as part-time, or they kind of break it down as to per hour jobs. So I just wanted to show you that not only do you have the full-time yearly availability, but you can also see some of the part-time jobs, and also look at the number of jobs. Now again, this is only related to network security, and we have 690 openings or jobs listed right now in Florida. This is a quote that I found, and this is actually coming from a popular magazine called CIO.com, and this is the most recent version. This is June of this year, and it breaks down by the state the number of jobs that are available. So we are in Florida, and we are in pretty good shape. So not only does it rank you according to the jobs available, but it also gives you a little more details about some of the other industries as well. As you can see from here, the IT positions are in demand, and sometimes the hiring managers are using recruiters to reach out to potential skilled students or skilled seekers. Let me change the gear just a little bit. And previously you have seen some computer and network related jobs, but there is another industry in engineering or engineering technology. Now, our state has partnered with a group called the FLATE Group, which is basically an established center funded by the National Science Foundation. And the job of this particular center is to work with all the colleges, share resources, monitor the trends, and also talk with the economic policy members and know about the kind of jobs and the skills that are needed, that needs to be taught by these colleges. And we are a very, very active partner with this group. They have this website, and you can see the URL here. And there's also some videos and tons of resources. And I'm not going to play the video here, but there are tons of resources that you can find from this site. Now, since we have talked about some of the ways of finding the jobs, let's look to see how do we actually get into those jobs. One of the things that more and more colleges and universities are trying to do is to include co-ops and internships. Again, the slide that you see here shows, this is a magazine, US News. It talks about how co-ops and internships are good ways of getting into these kind of jobs that we just saw advertised earlier. Our programs, in fact, most of our programs, do actually have the co-op or the internship already built in, or they are embedded within the program. Now, you might find some different terms being used sometimes. Sometimes you might hear them call it internships, and it is really the amount of time that you're spending that differentiates between a co-op or an internship. But basically, these are opportunities where you can work with a company and apply the skills that you have learned from your program. Generally, I advise the students to look for these positions, and we have some resources, and we also have an office where we actually help find these positions and place the students there. And in these positions, you get to show off your skills and apply your skills in a real life scenario. These jobs could be paid or unpaid. However, the value that comes with it is not only the money, but also the tremendous networking opportunity and to show off your skills, your aptitude for learning, and shows if you are part of that team. A lot of times, these co-ops and internships actually turn out to be the first career jobs for our students. Now, let's get into some of the programs that would prepare you for these career opportunities that I had shown you earlier. Here are a list of our programs, and these are 2-year Associate of Science degree programs. As you can see here, we have a wide variety of programs, anything from architecture to computer engineering to computer programming to networking, database, simulation, electronics, engineering technology. Now, of course, due to the time constraint, I cannot go into the individual programs, but let's talk a little bit about some of the classes that you'll be finding in these programs. So let's pick a few examples. Let's talk about computer information or computer programming. And the reason I chose that topic is because you had earlier seen a job description where it asked for .NET developers. So in that programming degree, we cover various programming languages like .NET, C#, Java, PHP, JavaScript. We do cover databases. We cover A+ hardware. We cover basic networking. We cover basic security. So those are the classes and the skills that are already covered in that particular program. Now, if I choose something in networking technology, then you will find classes that will teach you more about cybersecurity, virtualization, forensics, Windows security, server or Windows server. We also teach classes in operating systems like Linux. Let's pick another one, which is our electronics engineering. Now, this is a program where you will learn more about AC/DC circuits, circuit analysis. You would be building circuits. You would be analyzing them along with other classes in engineering areas. Now, we also have another form or another some other programs, and these are our college credit certificate programs. Typically, these are shorter programs, so you can see 1 year or less. And these programs can be your initial stepping stone into a longer associate programs or Associate of Science program. All classes that you would cover in these programs are going to be articulated into your Associate of Science degree. The basic difference between an Associate of Science and a certificate program is in your Associate of Science, you also have to take 15 hours of general education classes. Those general education classes are English, some basic math, some humanities, and then you would take some program-specific classes. However, in the college credit certificates, you are not required to take any of those general education classes. So you can just jump into the program-specific classes and then articulate these classes into the longer Associate of Science degrees. Now, since we talked about some of the ways to get into the jobs and we already talked about the co-ops, I wanted to share some of the figures, and these are the most recent figures. In fall of 2019, we had 108 co-ops. So these are all students coming from different programs who were placed in co-ops. In fall 20, which is going to start in August, we have so far registered about 67 co-ops. Now keep in mind that we are going through some different times, so my numbers for fall 20 may be a little low. And as I mentioned here again, some of the companies actually have hired our students and they now are placed in those companies. I'm also sharing over here some of the companies that we work with that are local. And you can see most of the companies are within this local area. However, we do have other people in Orlando, in Melbourne, that we also work with. It's also important to make a note that we have a very, very active and diverse advisory board committee. This is a group of local leaders who are part of these companies, and we meet every semester. The reason we do that is because we want to keep all our programs current, and we want to establish that network in the local area so that we can find opportunities and we can provide our students with networking opportunities with these people. In these meetings, which happens every major semester, we invite all our students. They can hear our discussion where we talk about the kind of classes that we are offering, the kind of skills that we are trying to teach, and also seek advice and feedback from the advisory members about the upcoming skills that they are seeing as needed in their companies. And of course, this is also a way of them sharing some of the experiences that they had with our co-ops that they have placed in their companies. In most cases, they are very, very happy with the students that we produce and we put as co-ops. And as I said, many of them are now the local leaders. In this board, we also have a lot of our alums, which are basically students who have taken the same pathway as you would be, and they started their career as a co-op, stayed in that company, and over time has gotten promoted and now are giving back, and they are now the local leaders sitting in our advisory boards. Let's talk a little bit about the facility that we have. All our programs are housed in our facility at Advanced Technology College. This facility was designed for advanced technology. As you can see, some of the pictures of the open network cables that are going over, and this is just to show students how networking is done. This is also showing the switches and the routers that are out there, which controls every single computer, every single port, and supplies the infrastructure to this entire building. If you look at the labs, we have a combination of PCs and Macs. This is a special classroom that you see in the bottom left. That's our hardware lab, where students are actually taking computer apart and building it together. They are specially equipped with some of the mats, which are anti-static mats. Basically, when you open up a computer, there's still some circuits or there's still some current that is flowing, and it is important that you ground those current, otherwise you might damage this system, and also it might cause some damage to you. So it is very important that you follow certain procedures. More labs, and these are some of our engineering labs and our networking labs. As you can see here, these labs are very specialized and equipped with the latest robots and latest equipments. This is a printing machine. So these are basically 3D printers. We have some robots, and we offer engineering technology. We offer some mechatronics programs. So there are several robots that you see over here. These are the PLC trainers that you see over here. And these are some circuit boards, some oscilloscopes, some bread circuit board that you build circuits. So these are our engineering labs. So these are very, very hands-on. And we have experienced lab assistants that are out there helping the students and working with the students with their individual projects. Some of the student resources that we have are our academic advisors, our tutors, of course, our faculty support with our office hours, academic learning center. We offer classes in a variety of mode, face-to-face, hybrid, online. We have very easy to use program guides, which gives you a very clear picture about what classes you should be taking, what classes are we offering throughout the year so that you can plan your schedule accordingly. We offer financial aid, and then we also offer scholarship. Currently, we have a National Science Foundation scholarship where we would actually award students scholarship towards their tuition and their books. So basically, the entire ride for our programs is actually paid for if you qualify for the scholarship. Last but not the least, I also want to leave you with where and how technologies are being used. As you see from the slide, it is everywhere and it covers a multitude of industries. So you cannot really go wrong if you choose technology. It is applied in banking, in finance, in automotive, entertainment, healthcare, in energy, in education, in law enforcement. There is, in retail. It is hard nowadays to find any business that does not use technology. Everything that we see and use nowadays are very data-driven, and everybody uses technology to advance their business and expand their offerings to the users. Also, in our daily life, you cannot get away from technology. We are using smartphones, we do our shopping, we use wearable technology, using 3D printing, we are constantly using social media, we are using entertainment in a different way, we are seeing driverless cars that are coming out there, and as you can see, I can go on and on and on. So if you want to get into the technology field, there are various ways that you can apply and get into these different areas or different careers in your life. Thank you. At this point, I would like to open it up for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Anindya. I'm going to open up our Q&A session. So you will see it on your screen in just a moment. It'll come up as a tab at the bottom of the visual screen that says Q&A, and you are welcome to type your questions in that box and we'll be able to see them and address them. But just in the meantime, a couple of reminders. Our Summer B classes begin on June 29th and fall classes begin on August 24th. Applications and registration are open for both terms, so now is the time to apply and register. Also, we are here for you. All of our Daytona State campuses and student services offices are open and available by appointment, or you can get full service by speaking with any office that you need by telephone, email, or web chat. And I see that we're getting a couple of questions in. Do you need a specific type of computer for the programs?
In most cases, PCs, but also we can use Apple computers. So if you have a MacBook, we can use them as well.
And can you take any of the programs 100% online?
There are several programs that can be done 100% online, but some of the engineering programs would require you to come to the labs. Even though we have some virtual labs available, but when it comes to the robots, the 3D printing, the programmer, the PLC programmer, those are probably better if you could come to the labs. But as I said, we do have some virtual labs that are available as well.
And are co-ops available for IT certificate programs?
Not all of them, as the certificate programs are a little smaller. Few of them does require the co-ops or does have the co-ops embedded, but not every single one has them.
And the different jobs that you spoke about before, can I get those jobs with a certificate or associate degree, or do I need to transfer to a university and get a higher degree?
No, you can get your job, you can get started with your certificate, preferably an associate's degree. Most of the companies that we work with, they always talk about the importance of lifelong learning and the importance of the students or their skilled workers to continue, get a degree and move forward. So you can start off with some skills with your certificate, but they will eventually like to have or like to see you complete your Associate of Science and move forward if possible.
And will my classes transfer into the bachelor's program?
The program that we offer over here, yes, absolutely. All classes are going to be transferred into the bachelor's program as lower level technical electives.
And can you expand a little bit on the industry certifications that might be gained along the way?
Sure. So when we were talking about some of the individual classes that are included in the program, we talked about a class called A+ Hardware or Network Plus or Security Plus. All these classes actually have an aligned industry certificate, and you can sit for the industry certificate. We have some resources that are available to the students where they can actually take practice exams, study for the exams. When we teach our classes, they are not always taught with an industry certificate in mind. However, they're very, very closely aligned. We teach it from an academic point of view because we want to prepare students for the next higher level class that might need some of the basics. So some of the topics that are covered in the industry certificate are not, or just cannot be covered within our classes. So that is why we have the resources. And many of the students who would actually complete the class would sit for the industry certificate separately and use those resources that we have available.
And if I need to take a class, just a particular class for my job, am I allowed to do that, or do I have to be in a major?
No, absolutely. You can take up to 12 hours as without declaring a major. And we have quite a few students who are in the same boat where they are picking up a language class, a programming language class, or a database class, or maybe a web programming class, just to advance their skills, because a lot of times in their existing jobs, they see a new opportunity and they would like to apply and also, use their skills, and they just actually come to retrain so that they can take it back and use it in their job.
Well, this has been wonderful information. Do we have any more questions? We'll leave the Q&A up for just a moment. If anyone does want to reach us, of course, Anindya had his phone number in the presentation, but Anindya, can you repeat your telephone number, please?
Yes, it's 386-506-4155.
And you can always call the admissions office at 386-506-3642. We'll be happy to help you with any questions. Or you can reach us by email at admissions@daytonastate.edu. We did have another question come in. How do you apply for the scholarship that you mentioned?
In that PDF, there is a link to it, and you can reach out to me, or you can reach out for that link. It's also included in the website for Daytona State. So if you type in daytonastate.edu/scholarship, that should be also included in that website.
And for any of our guests, because they won't be able to click the link from the webinar recording, if they contact you, you can email it to them?
Absolutely.
Wonderful. All right, any other questions? Well, again, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. We hope that you've enjoyed this. This does conclude this quarter's Future Falcon webinars, but all of our recordings are posted on the Daytona State website, daytonastate.edu/webinars. Please check back with us as we bring up new content and new areas. We're going to take a couple-week break, but we'll be resuming those in just a few weeks. And again, thank you so much for joining us. This concludes our webinar, and I'm going to stop the recording.
Thank you very much.